There's reason for both optimism and concern when it comes to this 2023 housing market. What does it all mean? What just happened last month that was highly unusual, and where are we headed? We're talking about the Atlanta housing market, and we're doing it right now. Let's do it. What's up, everyone? If you're new to this channel, I'm Jonathan McCoy, Atlanta's Real McCoy, here with Keller Williams Realty in Atlanta, Georgia. And I get contacted by people just like you on a regular basis looking to buy, sell, and invest in real estate here in Atlanta and the metro Atlanta area. So if you have questions about home buying or selling in or around Atlanta, please feel free to reach out. Whether you're ready to roll right now or maybe a year from now, it's never too early to start that process. Okay, let's jump right into these numbers. We're looking at last month's numbers, and hopefully they can tell a story of where we're going here in 2023. We're starting with single-family detached homes. So as you can see on this chart right here, this is a 6-month trend, so what's happened over the last 6 months here in Atlanta. There's a lot of story being told here. Let's look at active homes. As you can see, the number of active homes peaked in the September-October area and now has started to go down. Once again, we have less people putting their homes on the market. This is not unusual for December. When you hit November, December, you got Thanksgiving, you have Christmas. In those holiday seasons, a lot of people don't want people looking at their homes. So you have less people that are on the market trying to sell their home just because of the holiday season, that they just don't want to deal with it. So it's not unusual to see a decline in the number of active homes, but this number is just low. Inventory still at a really low level here in Atlanta and throughout the country. So we're seeing this number here of actives being down to 7,156. The number of pending, that's the number of homes that got under contract. At the end of December, we saw 3,481 homes under contract here in metro Atlanta area. So that ratio is 32.7. Now, this pending ratio number is something that I've harped on for a while now, over the past year at least, because this pending ratio was really high to start 2022. So this has continuously gone down. We kind of predicted, though, once it got into this level at 32 that we'd see some leveling out. Talked about that in October, November, and we're seeing this now. So we're seeing this pending ratio kind of level out here. We see it in the 32s for 3 straight months. We're kind of hit our stride for right now, and then a percentage of homes that are going to be under contract versus those that are active. I had mentioned in the intro of this that there was a really surprising number that jumps out, and that's this. So we saw a decline of sold homes and from September to October to November, but look what happens here in December. We had a jump. Now it's not a huge jump. But we really expected that number to continue to go down some, and we saw a bump up. That's a really surprising statistic. I'm going to be super interested to see what happens in January and February. If we see these numbers of sold start to rise and these active numbers stay down, we're going to see the home prices start to tick back up again. Jump over to distressed real quick, but we're going to come back to this number. Failed listings. So we have 40.4% of homes that were listed on the market failed to sell. So they came off market. That's a pretty substantial number compared to the 23 and the 28 and 32. And in a few minutes, we'll go look at this and compare it to some more historically normal markets that were still sellers markets to see where this number falls. And then we jump down to supply, which is months of inventory. Once again, we hit a surprise. I was expecting to see this number stay around the 3.2, but man, we had a drop. I mean, we went from 3.2 to 2.6 back to September numbers. What we were seeing is this number starting to rise in July, August, September, as you can see here, October, November. I thought it would plateau in December, maybe go up slightly, but this drop is pretty substantial. Now, once again, I want to point out that supply or inventory, as we talk about it, is not just the number of active homes or homes that are out there for sale in the market. It's also based on the rate at which people are buying these homes. And if you're under 6 months of inventory or supply, then it's a seller's market. Between 6 and 7, we talk about an even market, and above that is a buyer's market. As we can see here, we're still in the midst of a seller's market that doesn't seem to be changing anytime soon. But man, that inventory level still pretty low. Once again, It'll be very interesting to see what happens in January and February. After the holiday season, are we just going to see an influx of homes? If some of you follow some of the discussions on this channel, you'll see so there's some thoughts out there that we're going to see inventory rise with investors putting a lot of homes on the market. I don't know if that's going to make that significant of an impact. Maybe, we'll see. Another interesting thing is we saw the median list price kind of go down and then jump back up here. I find that really fascinating. Sellers are being pretty stubborn on their prices. Now, we can see that the median sales prices dropped down slightly. We were at 420 for a couple months. Now we're at 415. I don't take much stock into that, though. We dropped a little bit again. It's a lot more leveling out. I think in January, February, we're going to see that number. Maybe we jump down to 410, maybe 405. I don't know. I think we're then going to see it start to rise again. Month over month, yes, this has taken a hit. If you go and take a look at some of the videos I talked about the predicting of 2023, I had mentioned that, yes, we constantly see June, July being our highest median sales price, November, December constantly being our lowest sales price in traditional markets. We usually see a drop in that median sales price, about 7%. It's been brought up, it's now around 10% drop from our peak. So yeah, it's about 3% higher than it normally is. However, it is not the sky's falling, the market's taking this huge drop. I think we're just seeing a little bit of correction here. And then days on market. Homes are definitely staying longer on market. We see 36 days on market for a home to go from listing to being under contract. So 36 days on market is coming back to a more normal market. Now, some things to look at in this to help figure out where we're going. Let's start with the actives. If this active number of homes continues to stay low, we're going to see housing prices stay where they're at, maybe tick up a little bit here in Metro Atlanta area. The solds and the pendings, a little more concerning. This is where people are not buying as much. This ratio, again, staying right around 32, 33%. So that's a good number. I expect that to stay pretty steady, maybe go up a slight tick as we go into this new year and into the spring that'll be approaching faster than we know it. So these are more positive numbers that kind of tell me that should level out. Home prices should stay pretty steady, maybe tick up a little bit. A number that's more concerning, so on the other side, I said there's optimism and pessimism here, is this 40.4% of failed listings. That's a pretty significant number of homes that were listed and never sold. Will these failed listings come back on the market? What happens sometimes if someone doesn't sell a home is they just take it off the market and will plan to sell it in the summertime or next year. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. If we all of a sudden have, these failed listings all of a sudden hit the market in spring, summertime, but those buyers don't come back, then we can see home prices drop because that inventory is just going to tick up. I don't think that will happen. We'll see some. I think inventory can go up, just not seeing that it's going to skyrocket up. Now, why I don't think it's going to skyrocket up is this number right here. So this right here is distressed homes. And we can see for the last 6 months that the distressed homes have stayed pretty constant. For those that aren't familiar with this, a distressed home is a foreclosed home, a home that's a short sale that has to sell for less than what the owner still owes on it. This, based on historical trends, is still really low. There's a lot of people that still have a lot of equity in their home and a ton of people that have great rates on their home for interest rates. Even though that's high, that distressed home percentage is really low, and I think that's going to continue to help us keep these home prices where they're at. I just don't see a huge drop, a huge crash in this market based on these numbers. So this number right here, reason for concern. That number right there, this number right here, reason for optimism. If you're sitting there thinking that you really want this housing market to improve, there's one method that you can apply right now to help that happen. And that's hitting that thumbs up button and subscribing to this channel. If we go to this chart here, we're looking at December 2021 versus 2022. Year over year, We've talked about it multiple times. I mentioned it briefly. It's really hard to compare to 2021 and 20. That was a crazy, highly unusual market. But we'll take a quick look here. We can see actives have gone up, pendings have gone down. Yes, we know the market has definitely shifted. It's still very much a seller's market out there. Solds have gone down. Again, there are a lot less buyers out there because interest rates have gone up. We are starting to see them tick down, which again is a reason for optimism for those that are looking to buy or sell in the near future. Supply, again, inventory's gone up, yeah, we know, but this is the big one right here. Home prices have still gone up. What you want to look at home prices is not necessarily the month-over-month trend, because again, housing market is based on seasonality. Median sales prices go up in the summer months or around there, go down in the winter months. But when you compare December of 2021 with 2022, we can see we've had a 3.8% increase in our home values. It's an important number to continue to look at as we go into this year. So we'll compare January 2022 with 2023 and February and March and so on to see what happens with these home prices. Let's jump down to supply right now and look at it based on home values. We can see supply still low. It's still very much a seller's market from $2 million and below. So that's a lot. For the typical buyer out there, we're going to be looking in, this range right in here. And we're at 2.3, 2.5, 2.4, and 2.4 months of inventory. We can see they were going up. And then again in December, we've dropped back down again. This is the range where we want more houses to come out of market for those buyers out there looking to purchase a home. If this number continues to stay low, prices are going to stay where they're at. Also, an important thing to look at is what's happening in the luxury market. The luxury market lots of times can be an indicator of what's going to happen for the rest of the market. Inventory went down, inventory went down, inventory went down. We're not seeing inventory staying steady or going up except in this 3 million range. Even the over 3 went down. Once again, between inventory and demand, those things are going to determine what home values are going to be. And because we base this number of inventory based on the number of homes versus how much people are buying, this is the number to look at to see if home values are going to rise or fall or stay steady. So if we want to compare to a more normal market, let's jump back to this chart here, which is a more normal seller's market back in December 2016, 2019, and 2022. What makes this really comparable are these numbers right here, which is your supply and the inventory, 2.8, 2.6, 2.6. So your months of supply are really comparable here. We can easily see, though, that the actives and the number of pendings were lower. So again, this market overall is slower. We have less people listing and less people buying. But in terms of month supply, very comparable. Some big differences here are, sales price here. I mean, we can see, obviously, sales prices are much higher in 2022 than they are 2019. Matter of fact, sometimes you look at this number and it's staggering. I mean, there's reasons why people were worried about a crash. And could it still happen? Sure, maybe down the line. I don't see it happening here. I know this number is scary. It goes from 295 to 415. But as long as the economy stays as it is in terms of job numbers, it's hard to see a crash in this market. As long as inventory stays low, hard to see a crash in this market. As long as rents continue to be on the rise, which they have been, it's hard to see a crash in this market. If you're looking for a downward trend, maybe wait after this year or maybe 2 years down the line, where we're building a lot of apartments and condos right now. A lot of multifamily housing is being built. That's where a lot of the builders are moving towards. If you have a lot more rental properties in the market, that's going to bring rent prices down. And if rent prices go down, rent looks a little more attractive. If more people are going to rent and less people are buying, then obviously the demand goes down, which will bring more homes in the market, which will then cause a decrease in home values. If that's going to happen, maybe that happens in a couple years. All depends on that inventory. If there's any reason for pessimism, it's right here in these numbers, where we see that 40.4% failed listings is pretty high compared to the 35 and the 33 back in 2016 and 19. However, once again, look at those distressed. Much higher in that 2016 market. But come to 2019 and 22, we're just not seeing it. People have equity in their homes. So not a lot of distressed homes. For those out there looking at condos and townhomes, then this chart is for you. We're going to take a quick look at condos and townhomes. This is the 6-month trend for that. There are just less townhomes and condos, so these numbers are going to be lower. Once again, it's going to be very similar to the trend we're seeing in single-family detached homes, as inventory was on the rise and then boom, we had a drop. It's actually a more significant drop here for December compared to that rise that was happening. A few less pending, again, same, but look, sold homes pop back up here in December. So again, a very unusual number of what happened from November then to December. It's very different than other markets. Look at this distressed. I mean, only 0.2% distressed homes. I mean, again, there's equity in these townhomes and condos. Failed listings a little lower than we saw in the single family homes. And as we look at supply, look at this, 2.3 months of inventory. So still low inventory, still a seller's market in the condo and townhome arena. We look at median sales price here. We see we've gone down some, but it really hasn't dropped as much as the single family detached homes. Look at this, we're at 330 and now at 322.5. This is actually putting on a really good display of what I've mentioned when it comes to the seasonality of the market, when it comes to single family detached homes. Your larger homes hit the market more in the summertime, because if someone is living in a 5 or 6 bedroom home, they likely have family. Families oftentimes have kids. Kids go to schools. So selling during the school year is much harder for families. They don't want to take their kids and move unless they have to. What that means is that you have more of the larger homes selling in the summer months and less of those homes selling or for sale in the months that are during the school year. This is what causes seasonality. Well, in the townhome condo market, typically townhomes and condos, you have 3 bedrooms or less. Now, I know there's some townhomes with 4 or even 5, but for the most part, most townhomes are 3 bedrooms or less. Most townhomes and condos, they might have families in it. I know plenty of families that live in townhomes and condos with school kids. However, condos and townhomes are very attractive to singles or young marrieds that don't have kids. What this all means is you have less seasonality in the condo and townhome areas. So we can see that the median sales price in July, $330. Come all the way down here to the month of December, we see it drop down to $322.5. That right there shows that, yeah, we've gone down a little, but it's not some huge percentage. This isn't some huge crash. So looking at this really helps when it comes to kind of taking out seasonality and kind of seeing what's happening just with the market overall. Did some quick calculations, and this number is right around 2.3% in terms of the drop in the median sales price, which goes to show that 3%, 2.3%, this is what the market has gone down, not based on seasonality, but just what's happening in the market from month over month. And if we come down to this chart, we're going to see condos and townhomes months of supplies based on the sales price here. And once again, man, just look, I mean, these lower prices are just taking a beating when it comes to your months of inventory. There's just so few homes from the 150 to 350 range. So your first time home buyer that's maybe looking for a condo and townhome, there's just not a ton out there. And it takes a while until we get up to the $900,000 range before we get into this buyer's market here. 2.3 months of inventory overall. Again, super low in the townhome and condo market. Don't see that changing anytime soon as well. So what are your thoughts? What is this market telling you? Good time to buy or sell? Time to panic? Time to rent? Leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Besides bringing you stats that you can only find on this channel, we also throw down videos weekly about buying and selling real estate, as well as in-depth views and tours of suburbs, cities, neighborhoods, and areas in and around Atlanta. And if you are looking for new construction, well, we do that as well. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.